Hi, I'm Judith Monroe and this is my studio. In a previous video, I showed you how to take a pretty good photograph of your artwork or anybody's artwork with your cell phone. In this video, I'm going to show you just a couple of little tips and tricks on how to edit that photo on your cell phone for really good results. When I want to edit an image of an artwork that I have taken on my cell phone, I use Snapseed. I'm doing this on my iPad. Makes it a little bit easier to see. So the first thing I do is I'm going to tap to open up, and here you can see I've taken some photos of some artwork, and I'm going to choose one that is less than ideal because I want to show you how to correct for some common problems or mistakes. So one of the things that we try to do when we're photographing artwork is to make everything square, and we would want all of these lines to be parallel with our frame, but sometimes things just get a little wonky, and it's our hands are shaky, whatever's happening, we're having a hard time with it, and there are ways to correct for it. I especially like Snapseed, so I'm going to go to the tools in Snapseed, and this one is called Perspective. You might also see sometimes tilt, rotate, scale kinds of things. This is a free perspective. I'm going to just show you what these different things mean. So when I hit tilt, I have an arrow that goes this way, side to side and up and down, and so I can literally, I'm sliding my finger one way or the other, I can correct for those funky things, like this side was too high, so I can kind of push my left side down a little bit, and you can see it's already looking better. I can do the same thing here, like that looks like the top is farther away than the bottom, and by rotating I can kind of even that out. The cool thing that Snapseed does in this is it's adding in, it's not subtracting anything on your edges. We're going to crop it anyway, but that can be kind of a cool thing. So I'm just doing this, trying to figure it out, how to make it as good as possible. Sometimes this kind of tilt one way or the other way and rotate. So I'm going to go back to the mode. Rotate is another mode. Sometimes those are the only modes that you're going to find, like the native editor in Apple. That's the only thing. And so I still have this kind of, it's mostly better, but I still have this one corner that's really off, and I don't want to crop all of this important stuff off. Hopefully you've done a better job than I did on this, but this is kind of showing you. So the mode that I love is free. So now in the free mode, I can literally just pull that one corner and make it so that, and this one kind of happened with it. So, and now I can see this one's a little high. I'm looking at the border space, and I want a very even line, and I can see it gets a little high here, and I can just push this down. Now I have a really close to square, as in squared off the way it's supposed to, and you can see I can just sort of play with those corners until it really feels like this image is squared. It is magic. I love this. When I'm done, I click my little check mark down here. And then, of course, because in a photograph of artwork, I don't want any background, I am hitting my crop tool. I'm going to hit free perspective, because I don't want to be stuck in some other aspect ratio that my artwork is not. And you can see I just bring my little edges, each edge independently, just to inside, and now I bumped that one up a little too high. I hit my check mark, and I have this wonderful squared artwork. The one thing that I have a problem with here, which happens sometimes, is that I know when I look at that artwork and when I look at this photograph, that this kind of area here is just a little bit too light. And I've got one of two ways I could do this. One way might work is I hit the Selective Tool, and if I just tap up here, and then I kind of pinch, so this kind of shows me the area that's going to be affected, and I can just kind of push by sliding my finger. Let's do that again. It's like, you didn't really want me. Trying to activate that area. There we go. So now I can push it, and I can really make it way too dark. And it's usually super subtle little things. So I could do that, and I'm losing some of my contrast. It should look a lot like this. So I can actually rotate when I show you things then. Okay, so here is my contrast, and that I've achieved by scrolling my finger up and down on the screen. So in contrast, now I can slide my finger sideways. It keeps telling me that it's like, you're talking too much. And I can kind of increase the contrast. Now this has kind of helped with my lighting problem, but not really. And so I'm going to hit my X down here and say, no, never mind. And I know I have another tool that's going to do a better job for me, and that is my Vignette tool. So the Vignette tool by default chooses, if you can see, there's a really faint circle, and it shows me where, as I pinch it in and out, where that vignette, and it's about a 50% vignette darkness on the edges. But what I'm going to do is make this kind of circle this pretty big, so actually none of my artwork is in it, and slide the center. Oh, come here, give me that. So I'm going to open it up and then slide the center. There we go. So I can make my vignette circle really big and move that center. So you may not be able to see, but there's that arc right here, and it's just a very gentle gradient kind of darkening just on this corner, which was exactly what my problem was. And so when I tap here, you can see it kind of gets lighter. I've kind of got a little bit more over here. Maybe if I move this, because I don't want that corner to get darker. So I can see by pressing and releasing what's going on. And so, and I can kind of back off a little because it wasn't really that much of a difference, just a little bit. And so now you can see, if you're looking up here, how it gets a little bit darker, super subtle. But you know, every little tiny subtle thing matters. And so then I'll just hit my check mark. The other thing I would want to look at is the color accurate? A lot of my artworks are fairly warm, and the auto white balance on cameras in general will take that warmth right out of my images. And so in Snapseed, if I go to Tune Image, and I go down to scroll down to the bottom, warmth, and I can add in just that little bit of warmth. And so you can see this is where it was. Again, subtle little differences, but it's a little bit warmer, a little more yellow. This is a more accurate representation of this artwork. And so I will just click on this. And now I have from a less than perfect image to a really rather good representation of my artwork that I shot on my phone and edited. I could have edited on my phone, but I edited on my iPad in Snapseed. And finally, I'm just going to export. And that now gives me in my camera roll a wonderful photograph of my artwork. So I hope that helped you learn how to really get the most out of that cell phone image of your artwork. Now you're going to be ready to submit it to an art show, or maybe submit it to my class because you're my student. As usual, I would love it if you would like, comment, subscribe, share, all those things to help me grow my channel. Thanks. Bye.